Hey, you beautiful hospitality workers, tourists, and guests from all over the world. Today we're headed to Great Britain. No, as a matter of fact, the Brits are coming to our establishment. In another episode of Free Upgrades Understanding Cultural Differences in Hospitality and Tourism, we are going to cover how to deal with British people abroad. Rule Britannia, Britannia rules the waves. Once the biggest empire in history, now the home of the X Factor. For centuries, this drizzly island has punched well above its weight in music, TV, literature, and cheese production. An inspired place where spies are so inconspicuous they drive Aston Martins, and wizards are 12-year-old boys who wear glasses and fight bald people. But despite the last wolf in Britain living in 1760, the lowest rate of natural disaster in the world, and no active volcanoes, British people travel to more dangerous countries to get away from it all. Are they mad or are they joking? Let's find out as we look inside the minds of the Brits abroad. The first thing to note about British people is their elite level of politeness. It's like their instinct for global dominance was repressed so much it turned inside out. Day to day, you'd think they were just given 1/4 of the globe because they asked so nicely. Their manners are perfect, their temperament is warm, and in most cases it's impossible to tell if they are offended. A study by the worst hotels in the world found that no matter how frustrating you make the Brits experience, they only become more polite. This makes conversation easy, but guaranteeing satisfaction hard. A British person's complaint usually sounds like a timid request to possibly make things better. If you are ever inclined to do so, at your own convenience and only if there's no one else around who needs anything. They will also pad their speech with 4 or 5 compliments before tiptoeing towards what upset them. To keep on side, make short chit-chat and share a laugh, and when they try to use the local language, compliment them no matter how bad it is. If you destroy a British holiday to a point beyond redemption, you will encounter the strongest weapon in their arsenal, a strongly worded letter. This is the British version of the AR-50 or the chemical attack. A strongly worded letter is what a British person turns to when criminals burn his home and kidnap his family, but society provides no justice. If revenge movies were made in Britain, they would have names like Sincerely Yours or Cold Regards. It goes so far that the biggest fear in Britain, more than swans, adders, and Lord Voldemort, is to return to your car and find a rude note about your parking. The good news is they prefer to write to you directly instead of using the review sites. You're in no danger of a bad review watching this video, but if you drop the ball and someone has a real bad time, you might get lucky with an email instead of a 1-star. The British are so civil, even their cold fury has a level of leniency. But all of this goes out the window when alcohol is involved. Alcohol and British people go together like petrol stations and open flames. Despite their wholesome nature, Brits are descended from the people who conquered the entire world. And just like dogs still possess wolf traits, if you get your dog drunk, he's gonna howl. This is exactly the same with the British. Take those same polite British people we mentioned earlier. They were drinking gin and tonic years before it became a global phenomenon. It was them who pioneered it by showing how much fun they had drinking it on holiday. Give them access to a free bar and they'll degenerate into a fearless and destructive rage-fueled lunatic. Like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, if they had a baby with Incredible Hulk, you can see how it looked hundreds of years ago when their ancestors invaded every country to take stuff and fill up their museum. When football is added, a pack mentality kicks in. Football is the biggest, most dominant religion in Britain, and it's still waiting for its reformation. When the British watch the beautiful game, you'll see how bows and arrows did little to slow them down on the battlefields in the Middle Ages. But this being the Brits, there is a release clause. They will only ever be troubled if they sense unfair treatment. So keep an eye on the referee if there is a game on. Without this to light the match, you're safe and likely to find the kind and caring Brit who smiled at you earlier being more confident and outgoing in his display of love toward you and your establishment. When you encounter a friendly drunk Brit, Match their energy and take an interest in their day. They'll tell you for several minutes about their life leading to this moment and how you played such an important role in their journey of discovery. All British people are in a toxic relationship with the weather. If a Brit has 30 apps on his phone, 80% of them will be forgetting weather forecasts. Brits love talking about it, so if you're struggling for a conversation piece, you can always go back to the weather. Brits track the forecasts more closely than their own medication. But they are so busy doing this, they have trouble deciding what to do whilst it's happening. This is where you step in and take the lead, suggesting what they should do or where they should go. If you can recommend which taxi company or tour agency to use, you've caught the ball perfectly. Let's talk about tea. Britain drinks 165 million cups of tea a day. If there's no kettle in a Brits hotel, you'll receive a selection of compliments and a shy request for one at some point if it's not too much trouble. Never deprive a Brit of their tea. You risk them turning to alcohol or writing that letter. So make sure there's kettle available, and throwing in a healthy supply of tea bags, milk and biscuits is a huge bonus for the Brits. Which leads us to our next item. Bargains! Only one thing in Britain rivals football as a guiding light and provider of purpose in life. Martin Lewis. The money-saving expert is the most popular man in British history. Those who deny him are cast out of society, and in many areas he is worshipped as a god. Virtually all TV in Britain is dedicated to saving money, winning money, avoiding being ripped off, or seeing the horror stories of people who were. Whilst British people are not tight-fisted, offering a Brit a good deal gets the same reaction as a male stripper at a Prosecco brunch. They will involuntarily drool at the sight and fight to claim ownership of it like it were the last lifeboat on the Titanic. Come up with an offer or use what you've got, because when the British are in town, you'd be a fool to waste it. So how to tame your British tourists and turn them into firm friends forever? Britain is the country that, despite its small size, has always been a world leader and a creator of iconic culture that is enjoyed the world over to this day. The people of Britain are kind, inclusive and caring, so here's what they deserve when they are on holiday. Number 1. Match the friendliness. Some of the most polite tourists in the world, you're a big part of their experience. Follow their lead and get to know them as friends, and you'll probably see them again many times over. The last thing they'll want is to complain, even if they do get upset by something. So building that relationship from the outset is key to ensuring a positive experience all around. Only take the lead when suggesting what they do that day, and if you want to absolutely guarantee your British friends return again, send them a birthday or a Christmas card. Number 2. Make friends with their culture. Britain's done the hard work for you here. The most universally spoken language in the world. Some of the most popular music of the 20th century and huge franchises in film, TV and literature are yours to play around with. Drop a few references into conversation and your Brits will love the effort. Number 3. Get beverages right. This is a big one. The worst position to be in with Brits arriving is in a drought. A favorite pastime of Brits home or abroad is their delight in a fine beverage, hot or cold. The best holiday experience for them will include the option of either. Get extra tea bags in, make sure gin is plentiful, and treat it like a tap that Brits don't have to worry about. This is key in giving a British family the holiday of a lifetime. Number 4. Have a bargain ready. British people love consistency. A top tip is to give them the same table or room if they return a second time. The exception to this is if there's an upgrade available. This will go so far to winning their hearts, it's basically an unfair cheat code. As a nation, you can count on them most reliably to read your newsletter, so give that a push when they're ready. Remember, you create an offer in the hope that customers will use it, and Brits might just be the keenest audience you'll ever meet. Now you know everything you need to bring joy to the hearts of every British tourist you encounter. Free upgrade never lets an unhappy guest leave. For more tips on how to handle cultural differences and keep away from accidentally offending your patrons, subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to be notified when we've got something else for you.